Friends, I'm very, very excited to invite Mr. Raj Menon, who is a LatentView advisor, as well as an encyclopedia of industrial supply chain experience to this conversation. Raj, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us for this brief conversation.
Thank you,
Um,
Sunder.
yeah, Raj is going to be an esteemed member of our panel at the LatentView Roundtable. Raj, one of the things I definitely want to learn from you in this conversation is that in your experiences, you would have seen supply chain disruptions like probably no one else has. I'd love to learn about maybe a couple of examples of some disruption or disruptions that kept you awake at night.
Sure. Thanks, Sunder. We're all sick and tired of talking about COVID, but these last 12 to 36 months, we've learned a lot about supply chain and supply chain resilience.
Yeah.
So during COVID, I was the president of a hydraulics division, and we've had tens of thousands of SKUs, some low volume, some high volume. So as soon as COVID hit, the bad news hit, all orders basically dropped to almost zero, right? And as you can imagine, we had to decide, what do we do with our people? What do we do? What message do we give our suppliers? How do we control our costs? How do we still keep the place open? And during that time, we also then had to make a decision on what our future capacity needs to be. And this was going through all through the supply chain. Every one of the manufacturers was making this call that our because of what our customers were making. Guess what? Within a few months, everybody started to realize that this, there's the requirements are not dropping. We're still starting to get orders. The economy is still going on, and production needs to continue. We got slammed with orders at that time. Slammed with orders because every distributor who now had sold every bit of the inventory wanted their place in line. And when they started to needed to get their place in line, we had to discern, look, who really needs it now? Who needs it 6 months from now? Who needs it a year from now? And we had no information within our system that told us how to prioritize, because up until then, we were a just-in-time manufacturer just like everybody else. Our suppliers were the same way. We didn't have excess inventory. We didn't have a lot of things that actually helped us deal with this whiplash that was going through.
Thank you so much for sharing a very interesting example. When I hear disruption stories, I always also appreciate the empathy with which you spoke about the people on ground and the impact that it can have on them.
Yes.
In assessing that, what kind of impact did you see to sort of the resilience, the responsiveness, or the agility of your supply chain? What kind of disruption did you see there?
I'm telling you, it was brutal. The impact on people was huge, right? Because these are suppliers who wanted to produce products on time. Their financials depend on it. They hate to disappoint us. But you start to realize that the systems we had at that time, like for instance, whether it was ERP or the way we ordered it, and their systems didn't have the ability to cope with it. The resiliency was really, really bad. And you could see people working long hours trying to deliver. Even my team at that time, they were struggling because how do you deal with a supply chain that has some factory shut off in a distant country to another one that's manufactured maybe 200 miles away? All of them had specific problems, but the only thing we had was muscling through the problem, is calling them, working through it. And our own people suffered because they felt like they were letting the customer down at every turn.
It's interesting you say that even with slightly advanced technologies in place, the statistic from some measurements that we've done is that a person on the ground spends half their time in the supply chain just trying to get to that right information so that they can take some decisions.
Yes.
We're going to explore this topic and many more such real life stories along with Raj and two of our other esteemed panelists during the LatentView Roundtable conference. That's going to be held on 3rd February at the Palace Hotel in San Francisco. We'd love for you to join us. Thank you so much again, Raj, for joining us in the session. Look forward to meeting you and diving much deeper into the subject on 3rd February.
Same here. Thanks, Sundar.
Thanks.